John, when we look at the biggest loser today, it's going to be Starbucks. It's among the worst performers in the S&P 500.
Starbucks has lost a staggering $25 billion in value over the last 5 years. How the hell did Starbucks go from market leader to a company in crisis? So, the Starbucks board have been dishing out their CEOs faster than Star Wars has been dishing out terrible TV shows. And good old Mr. Lakshman Narasimhan was appointed CEO in September of 2022. And this is the starting point of Starbucks' recent demise. So quite quickly into his tenure as CEO, he was facing big problems both in the US and abroad. Look, take China for example. It's their second biggest market after the US. People in China don't order coffee the same way that we do in the Western world, right? They don't just go in, place an order, watch them squiggle their name terribly, wait for the order and then sit down to have a coffee. The way they buy things like coffee is centered around their mobile phones. Now take one of Starbucks' biggest competitors in China, Luckin Coffee. Unlike Starbucks, Luckin Coffee offered mobile app orders and delivery from the get-go. In 2023, they were actually able to beat Starbucks in annual sales because they understood how people in China like to order their coffee. So Starbucks was losing its market share in China because they were just too slow to adopt a more digital approach. Yet remarkably, rather than just focus on this core issue, the CEO was more focused on introducing new flavors of drink to prop up sales in China. And just as he was trying to win over the Chinese customers through these new menu items, he was completely blindsided by a problem back home. So Starbucks workers from 117 different locations quite literally stopped working and walked out to celebrate outlasting the former CEO Howard Schultz. Now the former 3-time CEO was accused of leading aggressive tactics to stop Starbucks employees from unionizing, but more on that in a bit. And just a few months after this planned walkout, employees at 150 Starbucks stores held a week-long protest. And this was because Starbucks did not allow pride decorations during Pride Month. So tensions between Starbucks employees and senior management were reaching boiling points in 2023, but it had been growing for some time. For years, Starbucks employees have felt that they've not been treated fairly. If workers vote on it, each store can become a union. If unions or stores across the country band together, they're better able to negotiate more favourable working conditions and have more of a say in policies at work which impact them. But Starbucks' leadership is completely against this.
We want to have these meetings. We've scheduled 85. We've been to 85. We've tried to schedule 365. And we're ready to do that.
And my understanding is that on multiple occasions after you schedule them, the company cancels them at the last minute. And I would suggest to you that that is not acceptable.
Because unions mean that Starbucks has to actually negotiate changes in wages, working conditions and policies. Basically, it just limits their control over operations. So they've tried to deter unionization by raising the wages of people that work in Starbucks stores that aren't unionized. And more drastically, Starbucks stores that have attempted to form a union have actually been shut down by headquarters. So Starbucks wasn't just throwing people out of a job, they were sending a message to other Starbucks stores to say, look, don't even think about unionizing.
We were constantly being watched and managers listened in on our conversations through our headsets.
So because of their aggressive tactics, it's led to a lot of legal complaints and really bad press. 42% of Americans reportedly said that they're less likely to shop at a company trying to stop employees from unionizing. Starbucks itself is worried about the fallout. In a filing with the SEC, they warned investors that their own response to union organizing efforts could negatively impact how people see their brand and even impact their business. So Starbucks is scrambling. They're aware that their brand image is taking an absolute battering. In North America, where stores have been open for a year or longer, they're seeing less people walk through the door. Yes, you're thinking that, well, more people are working from home, and that's certainly contributed. But people all over the world, and not just in the US, don't want to pay $11 for an apple macchiato. But because of inflation, the costs have gone up, and so in return, they've had to raise their own prices. So with sales falling, Starbucks knew that they had to go back to the drawing board. They thought, how about we launch a new product? How about launching a brand new olive oil coffee drink? Uh-oh, that didn't work. Oh wait, they thought. Why are we reinventing the wheel? How about we just rely on our annual good old Red Cup Day promotion? That will fix our problems. To mark the start of the festive season, When you come into our stores, we'll give you a free red cup to say thank you when you order your pumpkin spice latte. Now, to be fair, it did help get more people through the door. But the traffic increases in 2023 were less than half compared to 2022, 2021, and even 2020. But just when you think that Starbucks will eventually catch a break, they end up having one of the biggest PR disasters that they've ever had. The Starbucks Workers United, which represents all the unionized Starbucks employees, posted on their social media that they expressed solidarity with the people of Palestine. Now, as you can imagine, pro-Israel supporters were furious, so they decide to boycott Starbucks. Now, Starbucks maintains that they've remained neutral throughout the entire conflict. So in October of 2023, Starbucks sued the organization, the Starbucks Workers United, for their pro-Palestine social media post. And to make matters worse, many people saw their filing as being anti-Palestine. So, pro-Palestinian groups also boycotted Starbucks. Now, you don't often see pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian people come together, but in their hatred for Starbucks, they did. I mean, this was truly the icing on the cake for Lakshman. The brand image was in tatters, sales were declining, they were losing market share abroad in places like China, unions were growing more and more powerful with over 10,000 workers signed up, people were just losing interest in going into Starbucks. So just after a year of formally taking over, Lakshman became another CEO that the Starbucks board dashed out the door. Now Brian Niccol, the former CEO of Chipotle, is set to take over. I mean, the stock market took it well, with an uptick in the stock price, reflecting the market's sense of optimism with this change. Now, on paper, this new appointment does actually make sense. Brian Niccol did bring about a lot of change at Chipotle that was seen as positive, from spearheading new menu items that customers loved, through to growing digital sales. Chipotle's stock price actually increased by a whopping 400% during his tenure as CEO. But should people really be excited about this appointment? We'll ignore the total compensation of $113 million, which is something that even Cristiano Ronaldo would be jealous of. One of the main issues that I have is he's not relocating. Nope, he's going to commute from his home in Newport Beach in California with the corporate jet. So while Starbucks workers have to come in and do long shifts in cafes and warehouses, he's able to remotely work. I wonder if the Starbucks workers will take that well. Maybe they'll welcome him with open arms. Who knows, maybe he will be the CEO that Starbucks desperately needs. But one thing is for sure, he's not really started on the right foot.